Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, I have a voice radio. So today, we're going to be looking at Unown. Now, I know what you might be thinking, ladies and gentlemen. Hang on a second. Didn't we look at that Unown a couple of days ago? And didn't you show a crazy combination which showed that it might be broken and might be deserving of being banned? Yes. Yes, I did. A couple of days ago, we looked at the combination whereby you bench a Klefki to take 2 damage because Team Magma's secret base is on the field, attach it to one of your Pokemon, after moving the damage to another Pokemon using Uniclus, pick it up with Weavile, and then cycle this damage until there's enough on the field. I suppose at this point I should remind you, for those that are unaware and missed the previous video, link in the description, do please check it out, that this is an Unown which is very weird. Whereby, if it's in the active, and you've got 66 damage counters or more on your benched Pokemon, you can win the game. I know, right? Funnily enough, you don't have to choose to win the game. Maybe if you're trying to make the game take a little bit longer, etc., you might choose to not. But generally speaking, if you get Unown in the active and you've got 66 damage counters on the bench, yeah. Quite frankly, yeah. You're going to want to win the game. So that was quite a good combo, but I put that video up, and I got a whole bunch of messages from people going, okay, Wassy, we like this. This sounds fun, but isn't the Blastoise version of this better? So I went and did a little bit of digging, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the Blastoise version. Now, I'm told this comes from Andrew Mahone. I must confess I've had a look around Mahone's Tricky Gym. I've not found it myself, but I will pop a link to his channel in the description, so do make sure you go and check that out. And as with the previous video, if I'm giving credit to the wrong person, let me know and I will pin a comment. Although as with all of these things, several people will come up with a very similar idea. So, it all starts off with Blastoise. Blastoise allows you to attach as many energy during your turn as you like. Okay. And weirdly enough, in the same way that the previous trick was all built around doing damage with Team Magma's secret base, this trick is all built around Frozen City. Yes, stadiums seem to be breaking Unown lately. Whenever any player attaches an energy from his or her hand to one of his or her Pokemon, excluding Team Plasma Pokemon, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So every time you attach an energy using Blastoise, that Pokemon takes 2 damage. You can see where we're going with this one already. Now, I should mention, and I'm sure you've probably guessed this by now, but like in the previous video, we're using Wailord. And what I really love here, 2 days ago we looked at Unown with Wailord and Reuniclus, etc. Yesterday we looked at the Wailord from Celestial Storm as an attacking Pokemon, and now with today, that makes 3 days in a row we've done videos featuring Wailord. Given that I love Wailord, this makes me pretty happy. And again, our goal here is very simple. We want to attach 12 energy to Wailord so that it takes 24 damage counters because it's got 250 HP. We need to get up to 660, so we want to make sure there is as much on Wailord as we possibly can. Now, this one in theory could be a little bit more consistent than the other plan we looked at, and it's because we've got Archie's Ace in the hole. Archie's Ace in the hole allows you, if it's the only card in your hand, to play it, take a water Pokemon from your discard pile and put it on the bench. Obviously, we're talking Blastoise here, and then draw 5 cards. Firstly, this means you don't have to have something like a 30 HP Solosis on the bench. Secondly, you don't also need a stage 1 like Weavile, which again, a little bit awkward having to have the stage 1 and the stage 2 in the previous combo. But thirdly, this actually opens it up as a turn 1 win. And here's the thing, this isn't attacking. So if you go first, and on turn 1 you get Blastoise out with Archie's, and you attach enough energy to enough Pokemon, you will win the game on the very first turn before your opponent has even had a chance to draw a single card. And we'll address this at the end of the video. But this means you've got a much, much bigger chance of seeing a ban than we saw with the other one. When I talked about the video yesterday with Reuniclus and Weavile, I said, look, you got to evolve up. You got to have at least one turn where your opponent gets a chance to stop you. That's not the case here. You go first, you get this combo working, you win the game before your opponent's drawn a card. Now, there's one other absolutely key card that we need here, and it's Energy Returner. Energy Returner is actually completely vital because you need to get 66 damage on the field, which basically means 33 energy. And the reality is, ladies and gentlemen, that either you're not playing 33 energy, or even if you are, your deck ends up being so inconsistent that you never get to draw and attach all 33 energy. So what you do is you play a large but slightly more sensible amount, and you use Energy Reset. Energy Reset allows you to put as many energy attached to your Pokemon as you like into your hand. And what is beautiful about Energy Reset, it is energy from all of your Pokemon. So the goal here is to attach as many energy as you can, draw an Energy Reset, and here's the great thing. You got Blastoise to attach as many energy as you like. So if you've got 10 energy on the field, you use Energy Reset, that's another 200 damage. Because you pick up all 10 energy, you can immediately reattach them using Blastoise, and with Frozen City, that's 200 damage. And that's essentially the crux of the deck here. You use Archie to get out your Blastoise, you attach energy using Frozen City, and you use Energy Returner to get the energy back and keep rolling. And what Energy Returner allows you to do, I mean, in theory, right, you need to attach 33 energy. So if you can attach 8 energy, then 3 Energy Returner puts that from 8 to 32. See where we're going with this? This adds up pretty gosh darn quickly, and it's a great example of a card that's never really seen any play in any deck, all of a sudden being part of a potentially broken combination. And this works like the video we talked about a couple days ago. If you get your Blastoise out, and you can attach enough energy, you will win the game. It is a solitaire deck. It does not matter what your opponent does. The only things your opponent can do are stop you setting up. So, either they try and take out your Pokemon and win the game before you get set up, they cross your fingers and hope that you've got bad prizes, or they play a Garbodor to block your ability. And I know your opponent can use Garbodor, but firstly, you can use a Field Blower to turn it off, and secondly, you don't need to give them a turn to get Garbodor out, you can just get rolling. Now, one of the other cards which is really quite crucial here is Shamin. Shamin does two things beautifully. Firstly, and most importantly, it lets you draw cards. You bench a Shamin, you draw until you've got 6 cards in your hand. And in theory, you build this correctly, get your Blastoise out early, you can attach every energy you find, you play a bunch of item cards so you can play them as soon as you find them, you're not playing many Pokemon at all so you can bench them when you find them, and then you end up in this great situation where you've rarely got cards clogging up your hand, so Shamin ends up drawing lots of cards very quickly. The other thing is the maths works out beautifully here. So we need 66 damage counters, Blastoise has 140 HP. But remember that Frozen City puts an even number of damage on, you cannot get up to 130, so you put 6 energy in Blastoise and it goes up to 120 damage. Then you play 3 Shamin, help you draw cards, you put 5 energy on each, put them up to 100 damage, that's 30. 42 in total, which means you need an extra 24 damage. Would you believe it, ladies and gentlemen? That's 1 Wailord. Yay! 30 for Shamin, 24 for Wailord, 12 for Blastoise. That puts you up to exactly 66. And I want to remind you, we've talked about this in a bunch of videos. In Standard, Archie's became not a great card. But in Expanded, we've got Execute, which is really good for just, I mean, you pick it up with its ability. So you can put it in your hand or not to make sure when you're playing stuff like Ultra Ball, etc., you can make sure that you're using the perfect hand. Need to discard a card, pick up 1, execute. Need to discard 2, don't pick up an execute. Need to discard none, pick up 2, execute. So execute helps you brilliantly here. And then you've got computer search, which is really nice for helping get this rolling. And you've obviously got your battle compressor as well. One of the awesome things about Battle Compressor, by the way, is just making sure you discard cards that you don't want, so that when you play a Shamin, you're basically just drawing energy. So you draw the energy with Shamin, attach them with Blastoise, and then draw more energy. Battle Compressor can really help you get rid of cards you don't want to draw. You can't just play one Wailord, it might be prize. So you're going to be playing 2 or 3 Wailord, but you bench one, and then Battle Compressor the other Wailord away. Yeah, quite nice. And between stuff like Battle Compressor and Execute and Computer Search, getting Archies working and expanded is not that difficult. And if you play against this, you have got 2 options to win. Hope they don't get set up. I lied, there's only actually one option. Maybe they don't get set up because they've got bad prizes. Maybe they don't get set up because you can take out basic Pokemon nice and easily and stop them ever getting rolling. Maybe you don't set up because it takes you a couple of turns and they get a Garbodor out. But either way, that's how this deck loses. It is a solitaire deck. If you get your setup, you win. If you don't get your setup, you lose. And I think this has a much, much bigger chance of leading to a ban than the other deck. Because the other deck, you needed your Stage 2 Reuniclus. You needed your Stage 1 Weavile. So you had to give your opponent a turn. In the other Unown video, we looked at some of the bans that have been implemented, like Wally because of Trevenant. Because Wally let you get a turn 1 Trevenant and your opponent never got items and couldn't play the game. This is a deck where if you go first and have a good setup, you win. And your opponent never gets to draw a card. And that is exactly the reason Pokemon have been banning cards lately. Now, to be fair, you could fix this deck by banning Energy Reset. I think banning Blastoise would be a little bit weird because it won Worlds one year. And it's never been a problem before. You could also ban Frozen City, but you could fix this deck by actually banning Energy Reset. But I've, over the last couple of days, shown you 2 ways where you can basically play a solitaire game and win using unknown damage. And more cards are going to be released, ladies and gentlemen. This seems like it could be legitimately broken. And when I made my original video about the Unowns, again I'll pop a link in the description, I said that they're fun, but how easy is it going to be to use? People are already finding ways to break them wide open. And it's probably going to carry on. But are you worried about this? Do you think this is going to ruin the expanded format? Let me know in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. Go nuts, but do make sure you be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, other than checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays for some more Wassy action, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.